Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Adventures with Andi. Today we're going to dye these two balls of Knit Picks Palette Twist in the gorgeous autumn fall leaf colors that we've got going on right now. As I said, these are Palette Twist. They are 100% Peruvian Highland wool. These are only 50 grams because they're in balls and they're not some of the bare dye your own skeins of yarn. They are 231 yards, and this one is Briar, this one is Asphalt. This one, it's just bare yarn twisted with this, kind of, I'd say maybe walnut brown color, and this one it's twisted with, I know it's probably supposed to be black. It doesn't look 100% black to me. Does it to you?
It's probably like gray black.
Yeah. Which I guess Asphalt, not completely black. And then we're going to dye it with some, orange, red, yellow, and a little bit of green to try to evoke that sense of those autumn leaves in the trees. Now, because these are in balls and not in skeins, the first thing I am going to have to do is revert these back to skeins. So y'all come on in, I will get that taken care of, and then we will dye this yarn. This yarn has been soaking in just plain tap water overnight, and it's been soaking. I added in some citric acid, about a half a teaspoon, maybe 15 minutes ago, and it's been soaking in that since then. So it's fully saturated. It's got some citric acid in there to help it grab the color. And the way I'm going to do this is I've got the two skeins here together, right? And I am going to put them in and sort of circle them around each other. Just like this. And as you can see, we don't have a lot of water in the crock pot. We've got some. It is warm. It's not boiling or anything. It's just barely warm. But we want to do this fairly low immersion, okay? And we'll go ahead after we get the dye in and we'll turn on the crock pot, and I guess we can go ahead and turn on the crock pot now, can't we?
Sure.
Let's go ahead and do that now.
Talk about exciting.
I know.
Okay, it's plugged in.
Okay. And then over here in these syringes.
I don't think they can see that.
Yeah, they can.
Oh, they can? Cool.
Yeah, it's right here, see? I looked, I checked. Okay, over here in these syringes and in this bowl, we have the colors that we're going to be using for this. We've got, what colors do we have?
Well, that first one is fire red.
Yeah, this is just fire red.
All colors are by Jacquard, right?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
These colors are all by Jacquard, so Jacquard Fire Red. We got 10 milliliters of it that we're going to use on these skeins.
Garnet.
This one is one that, it's a custom mix. We're calling it Garnet. You can see this one if you watch the triangle acid dyeing video, the first commercial acid dyeing exercise of that. This is number 14, which is 4 parts fire red, 1 part brilliant blue. And again, this is 10 milliliters of it. Next up.
Is it the orange or the Aztec gold?
I believe this is the Aztec gold. And this is the Aztec...
No, gold ochre.
Sorry. This is the gold ochre. This one is fire red, which is just, Yeah.
No, this is the orange.
Oh, sorry. No, I was mistaken. And this one is an orange, which is another custom color. You can see this in the third triangle exercise video of the commercial acid dyes, which may or may not have aired yet at the time of filming this. So if you haven't seen it, it's not out there. Subscribe and turn on your notifications so you do know when it comes out, because this one is number 6 in that exercise, and it is a 1-to-1 mix of Jacquard bright yellow and Jacquard cherry red. And the green is another custom color, also from that third triangle exercise dyeing video, which is a 1-to-1 mix of Jacquard bright yellow and Jacquard sky blue. You'll notice that there's a lot less of this. It's not in a syringe because we ran out of syringes. There's a lot less of it than the others. The others are all 10 milliliters. This is just a little bit that I eyeballed because we're not going to need as much of the green as the other colors. All right, so I'm going to start with just putting the dye in here in places throughout here. I'm only going to put like maybe half of each syringe in for right now, maybe even just a third, because it's not going to mix and soak all the way through. So we're going to put it on first on this layer, let it sit for a bit, then we will flip it and wind it around again, do it a second time, and possibly do it a third time as well to make sure we've got good coverage of everything. And there's not a whole lot of rhyme or reason to how I'm putting these colors. It's just sort of random.
Kind of like you might see in a tree.
Yeah, exactly.
Or in a forest of trees.
Yeah. And if we need more dye, we've got plenty of dye stock that we can use. Right, Chad?
Mm-hmm.
Barely used any of the dye. I'm like being so careful. It's like, I don't want to use it all at once. This one's gonna be stiffer. Yeah, I didn't even get a third of it the first time. Okay, we're just gonna go back and put some more in. I'm gonna try to make sure I get some on the sides too. Gonna let these just sit for a minute, just for a second, and then I will use a measuring spoon just to press down again to mix a bit. Yeah.
Are you gonna add any green or?
Not yet. I want to let the oranges and reds and yellows sit and strike for a bit, and then press them down and get them to spread a bit more, and then I'll add the greens in because I don't want to risk the greens muddying everything up.
Okay. Just curious.
That's my plan.
And you're sticking to it.
Well, that's doing. I will use, yes, we have a yarn mop, and I'm going to use it to wipe up over here where I dripped.
Where it dribbles.
Yes. And our yarn mop today is a 20-gram skein of wool to dye for platinum sock. Platinum sock?
I think so.
Looks like sock, not DK. Stop dribbling. I am so glad that I have this table covered in plastic because I'm making a mess. We've already got some color on our yarn mop from when we were mixing up some stuff. We had dye socks already, but we had some that we needed to mix up some other colors of. So, and also when we mixed the dye socks to make the custom colors. This is the hard part, waiting. It should strike pretty quickly though, because we've got the citric acid in there. Let's just see. Oh no. No striking yet on that.
That's all red.
That's a lot red. That's a whole lot red. We need to let this sit. Yes, I'm poking and I shouldn't. I will regret this later, I'm sure. Just letting them blend through a bit. And so that's got everything kind of pressed in, blended out a little bit. And so I'm going to add just a little bit of this green in just a couple of places. Oops, it dripped. Okay. Luckily it dripped in the crock pot. Right.
Mm-hmm. Perfect place for it to drip.
That's right. I don't have much of that cream left. I'm going to go ahead and put it right there. Like I said, I just kind of eyeballed how much I had. I've got more mixed up that I can use for the other sides. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll put the lid on the crock pot and we're just going to let this sit and exhaust that color. Then we'll come back and we'll flip it over again. All right, our yarn's been sitting here for about 20-30 minutes, and checking our dye bath, it is mostly clear in most places. We've got a little red over here still, but otherwise it's looking really good. So we're going to go ahead and flip this. And this time I'm going to try to, oh, we do have some good color coming in. Mm-hmm. I'm going to try to spiral it so that the part that was on the outside before is on the inside now. As best I can. And I'm not going to be so hesitant with the dye this time. Huh?
Going harder?
Yeah. All right, and gonna put the lid back on this. Let it sit for another 20-30 minutes to exhaust, and then we'll take a look and see if we want to add any more colors to it. All right, so looking at our dye bath, it's essentially exhausted. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at this yarn and see if we feel like it needs more color to it. Because it might. And if it does, we can add some. Yeah, I'm definitely thinking that we want some more color on this. We've got some places here that it's really not looking like it got anything. So we're going to be adding some more color to it.
Which colors did you want?
Well, we're going to need to mix up some more green because that green's not showing up at all. And I'm thinking some orange and yellow and garnet. What do you think?
I mean, definitely the green and the yellow and maybe the orange. I don't know. There's already a lot of red in there though, so it looks like the fire kind of dominated in places. So I don't know if you want to stick with the other colors other than the reds.
We can do that. I really wanted to make sure we had lots of really good vibrancy. And it's not looking really saturated yet.
Okay.
So that's why I was thinking maybe some more of the garnet.
Okay.
This area here looks really pretty cool, except our green turned into blue.
It's the sky showing through.
It's the sky showing. That's fine. It's fine. It's fine. All right, Chad, if you want to hold this, okay, I'm going to layer on some more of these colors individually. So there. And this time we're just using the Aztec gold, gold ochre, garnet, and orange. Does that look blue?
Is that the garnet? No, that's the old ochre.
No, that's the garnet. Okay, it looked blue. I wonder if that's the one that's coming out blue, not the green. That's weird. Well, I guess we'll see, won't we? But over here we can see that it's the garnet on our yarn mop. Well, we could, but now we're out of it. Okay, so that's fine. We'll just Go over it some more with some yellow colors.
And the garnet is the fire red and the brilliant blue.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now we're just gonna let these sit like this. Hopefully it didn't just muddy the colors up to be a red, but we'll see.
Live and learn, right?
Mm-hmm. We're just gonna let it sit like this and see how it goes. All right, so our yarn is looking really good. I know on the camera display it looks really orange, but we've got actually more red than orange. It's much more red, but we've got different tones of red. We've got some of the lighter red, that darker red, the garnet. We do have some orange, it's like right here, other places. We've got a little bit of yellow, but we also have some places where we don't have any color at all. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add in some more of both of our yellows, the gold ochre and the Aztec gold, and a little bit of the green too, because we really don't have any of that showing up. So some of these undyed sections might be good places for that. So I'm going to go ahead and hopefully not squirt the whole thing out at once. Here, I think, some of it. Maybe right here some. Right here a little. Okay, that's good for that one for now. And there's no water in this tray right now, but there is water in the yarn. I just took it straight out of the crock pot that it was in and just put it in here. You can see our green. And after we've done some work on this, then we'll see about adding some more water in here. So we go ahead and just put the yellows in places, because we really want to get that differentiation. Okay, now I'm going to flip this over, and I tried to arrange these so that lots of the white was showing, but we're still going to flip it over and check the other side for anything, any spots that we think we want to touch up. And this is something that you can do with any yarn that you dye. After you get finished, if you notice that there's a spot that there's not any color on, you can always go back and touch that up. And you don't have to do it with syringes. You can do it with, you know, just pouring the yarn on, or with just pouring the dye on, or, you know, with a foam brush or something and just hand paint it. I finished up that yellow. Don't worry, I got more if we need it. Flip this one. And I'm mainly trying to focus on the parts that have no dye on them yet. Because if I go over the red with the yellow, I'm just going to get orange. If I go over the red with the green, I'm just going to get brown. Probably. Mostly. Somewhat. Partly. Chet's over there laughing at me. Aren't you?
No.
Mm-hmm. I know how you
I'm
are.
laughing with you.
I wasn't laughing.
You were on the top.
I was laughing on the inside. Okay. All right, we're gonna let this sit for a minute while we heat up some water. And then we'll just go ahead and pour that in there and let that heat set it.
Okay, I'll get you some water.
Thank you. You see a little bit of that green coming out. All right, our yarn's been sitting out here overnight, and I'm sure you can see we've still got a slight bit of color in our dye bath. It's just a very faint yellow, and I'm not going to worry about that. But I do want to make sure that we heat set this yarn to get the rest of that dye fully set. So I've got a crock pot full of hot water and some citric acid over here. And I'm just going to pick these up. Just squeeze out a little of the excess. We're going to let this sit for half an hour on the heat, then we'll unplug everything, let it cool down overnight, and I will take it upstairs, wash it, show you how it looks. And here's our finished yarn. I think this turned out really good. What do you think, Chad?
I like it. I mean, they're both autumn. I think this one is a little bit more fiery, would you say? But they all have similar colors running through them, even though they had the different background base colors in the darker twine.
Yeah. This is the one that had the lighter base, and the colors that ended up on it, they feel more muted, but at the same time, I think we got more of the green showing up on it. The cat that you hear in the background is our cat Solomon, who for some reason lately just desperately wants to be in my office, even though this is not a cat zone. So she's just going to keep meowing over the top of us doing this conclusion. I apologize. This one is our darker base, the Asphalt color, and I think the colors actually feel a little bit deeper and more saturated on it than on this one, even though technically on this one they show up a little bit more.
I think that's by virtue of the fact that the Asphalt has this dark gray, almost black contrast, whereas this one has a brown, you know, almost fawn colored contrast.
Yeah, I think that's what does it, is when you go over that darker base, you get just that feel of a deeper saturation.
It's the contrast.
Yeah, yeah. We do have some green here. We have a little green here and over here. And I just love how the colors, the yellows and oranges and reds, just they just all work together on that.
Would you use them for a single project or?
Yeah, my plan is to start with the darker color on like the end of wrist warmers, bring it up, and about a third of the way in, start alternating the darker with the lighter for about a third until gradually transitioning over to just the lighter at the end portion of it. That's my plan. I don't have a pattern yet, but that's what I plan to do on it. I can tell you we didn't have any bleeding when I was washing the yarn, and although it probably looks like it's felted, it's really not. This base just, you know, likes to stick to itself, and even from the minute that I had it soaking in just room temperature water, you know, just regular tap water, it started looking like this. But It's not felted, and evidence of that is our swatches. Yes, this is how these two work up. Let's see if we can go ahead and zoom in a little closer. Interestingly, the colors blend so thoroughly across them that we really sort of lose those different yellows and oranges. And it just, we definitely lose the green.
Oh yeah, there's no visible, no green that you see, and almost no yellow.
Yeah, even though we've got these big sections here of the green, it does not show up at all in the swatches. We get a little bit more of the yellow feel over here in the lighter one, but in the darker one, it's not as obvious.
No, the darker one almost looks like magma or something like that, like a lava flow.
Yeah, I love how they work out. I mean, they're really just, I love the whole feel of it. This one I think does have a really autumn leaf vibe to it. Whereas this one I think is more like, you know, the fires in a fireplace as it's burning down to just the embers.
I can see that.
Yeah, that's the feel I get for it. I promise y'all, Solomon is not dying or being tortured out there. She just wants to be in here and she can't get in. I would let her in, but she keeps finding any bit of plastic or plastic bag anywhere in this room, like the ones that I have yarn in, and she will grab it and chew on it and run away with it. And that's not a good idea for her. I know it sounds like she's being tortured, but I promise she's not. Solomon, say hello to the internet people. Oh, she's something. She just loves me. She's my girl. You might notice that our swatches are laying more flat than normal. I did take the suggestions that y'all gave me in the comments to, you know, knit some ribbing around the edges. I've known I could do that to get them to lay flat. I was just being lazy. But yes, there you go. I listen to y'all, I really do. Now if I were to dye this yarn again with the same dye scheme and everything, there is one thing I would do different. Instead of trying to do it low immersion in that stock pot, I would probably do it low immersion in like one of the foil pans that we ended up using for the color correction, just to be able to have a little more control over where it goes. I was hoping to duplicate the effect that I've gotten before with putting yarn into a crock pot like that and dropping food coloring on and having it spread out more, and it just didn't really move the right way for this colorway like that. The other thing I would do different is I would remember to take my 10 milliliters of 1% dye solution and dilute it into some just regular water instead of squirting 1% dye stock onto the yarn, because yeah, that didn't work out quite right. I just spaced on it, y'all. I'm like, okay, I need 1% dye stock in these colors to equate the amount of color that we want on the yarn, and just completely forgot that, yeah, you take that 10 milliliters and then you can put it in just, you know, however much water you want to get it to spread around better. I should remember that next time. Right, Jack?
We'll see.
We'll see. I said I should remember.
Oh, you should? Okay.
Not
you
I
should,
would
yes.
remember.
Yeah.
I should remember that next time. Doesn't mean I will. Anyway, I hope y'all had fun watching us dye this first in a series of yarn inspired by the beautiful colors of the autumn leaves around our house. If you did, give the video a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do that and turn on notifications so you don't miss anything that we do here. And we will see you on our next adventure. Bye, everybody. Say bye, Chad.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Say bye, Solomon. Bye, everybody.